Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast post-game show. Pistons played the Lakers tonight, and man, what a game it was. We're going to get into our post-game notes and then go over the box score and, do a couple of comments and questions and overall thoughts. Our open forum or Q&A. Don't know how long I'm going to be doing this podcast because it is almost 3 a.m. Because after I'm done talking with you guys and editing this podcast, still got to get some work done. So I'll probably be done around 4 or 5 a.m. But hey, man, it's the grind. I love it. West Coast trips are only once a year, and I think these podcasts are always really fun, whether they're at 1, 2, or 3 in the morning. But let's get into it. So no Karis LeVert tonight in this one. He had, I think, left knee soreness. He was doubtful, so they didn't play with him tonight. And what that meant was more minutes for one, Marcus Sasser, and two, Jaden Ivey. And we'll get the Marcus Sasser in this podcast for sure tonight, and Jaden Ivey. Pistons started off the game much better than they did against the Clippers. If you guys remember, they really struggled to score against the Clippers. The Lakers are obviously not a good defensive team, and you saw that tonight in multiple instances. But you got to credit Cade Cunningham, man. Like, he is just such a great basketball player. From his scoring to his distributing, like, he was just everywhere tonight. And I think after, losing 2 games in a row, he wanted to come out and show that, like, hey, like, we're not going back to that losing shit. We're not going back to, the dark days. And he had said that with Hunter Patterson when asked a question about just resiliency. But the bench unit really brought the energy. Ivy, Holland, Green, Stu, and Sass. Cade finished the first quarter with 10 points and 6 assists. Tobias had 7 points, and that's all we actually really saw to Tobias Harris. End of the first quarter, Pistons dropped 36-30. Tobias left the game with a left hip sprain. Didn't even see what happened initially, but he didn't play. But he did drop 7 points in the first quarter. Ron picked up 3 early fouls in this one. And it was just a thing where Jalen Durham picked up a foul as well. He had a flagrant on LaRavia. Asar picked up 3 fouls. But the Pistons opened up this second quarter on the 15-3 run. They came out very aggressive after the first quarter. And this was a game in the second where they were up 14. But I think, costly turnovers, Luka Doncic getting to the free throw line, and kind of arguing with the officials a little bit, back and forth, didn't help them towards the end of the first quarter. But the Pistons were able to sustain their lead. They had a 5-point lead going into halftime, 70-65. Cade dropped an additional 10 points. He had 20 at half. Coming out of halftime, the Lakers obviously were trying to get back into this game. They opened up the third quarter on a 13-2 run. Pistons just had way too many turnovers early on in this third quarter. They had 6 within a very short time span. But I think what really helped the Pistons get out to a lead to end this third quarter were 3 players. Ron Holland was just being a pest defensively. Some of the finishes he had around the basket, I saw some people on the timeline call him, Ron Holland, which I think is funny. Hustle man, 5-hour energy. He was just out there impacting this game. Marcus Sasser, man, what a game for the kid. I'm so happy for him. He's not a player that gets to routinely play night in and night out. But the motto for a lot of these end of the bench unit guys is stay ready so I don't have to get ready. And he was a very big factor in this game. Looked great. And isn't it funny when he doesn't have to be a backup point guard and he just gets to play off ball and focus on scoring? He looks excellent out there. Jaden Ivey did provide some good minutes too. Didn't really try to force anything. Was really looking to, feed the hot hand and Marcus Sasser, and the Pistons were able to, sustain a lead with Cade on the bench, by the way. I mean, like all those minutes with Sasser and Ivy and Holland and Stu, Cade was sitting on the bench getting some rest. So it was 96-88 to end the third quarter. Start the fourth, Sasser was just making big shots. The Pistons really surged on the Lakers. They were hitting 3-point shots, getting into the paint. The bench points, almost 70 tonight. I think it was the second highest scoring bench production by the Pistons and their bench. And man, like, I'm so happy that they bounced back in this game, you guys. First and foremost, I'm happy they got a win. They got their 25th win of the season. But I'm more happy for this team because it was on a national stage. This was a game that was flexed by NBC. So NBC was at the game tonight. It was the national televised game. Their first NBC game was also on Peacock, and it was also on FanDuel. So there were a lot of eyes on the Pistons and the Lakers tonight, and the game did not disappoint whatsoever. If I had to give an MVP tonight, I got to give it to Sasser, man. Like, just being able to step up, hit his shots, be impactful, had a steal very early on. I believe in the first half, dove on the floor, ended up passing it to Javonte Green. Javonte swings to Jaden Ivey, and they get a dunk in the first half. But it was just such an incredible game for them to end 2025 off with a win. And I know a lot of Pistons fans were getting a little bit antsy because they're looking at the standings, and the Knicks are kind of knocking on the door at that first seed. But it's good to see that the Pistons get back in the win column and, just end 2025 off on a positive note. I do want to kind of get into the team stats and the bench and all that good stuff with the podcast tonight. So let's get into the scoring from the starters to the bench unit. So like I mentioned earlier, Tobias Harris only played 6 minutes, left the game, had 7 points, was perfect from the field, didn't miss a shot or a free throw. So +1 in this one. Duncan Robinson in 28 minutes had 6 points. He was 2 out of 5 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Cashed in 2 rebounds and 4 assists. He was a +4 in the plus-minus. Jalen Duren in 28 minutes had 14 points, 6 out of 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from the free throw line. Cashed in 8 rebounds, 2 assists, had 5 turnovers and 5 steals. Just like a wild game by JD in this one. Really wild. And a couple of the turnovers were just like, mental errors and trying to force something that wasn't there. And the Lakers collapsed on him. I mean, if you go back and watch the game, like a lot of the turnovers he had, I think are very fixable if he just, swings the ball or, passes it within a split second. Not really too concerning if you're a Piston fan worrying about Jalen Duren and his turnovers. Cade Cunningham in 33 minutes had 27 points, 12 out of 19 from the field. One of his more efficient games from the field. 1 out of 4 from 3, perfect from the free throw line. It's amazing. He only got to the free throw line 2 times tonight. Like, absurd to me. 5 rebounds, 11 assists, 5 turnovers, 1 steal. He was a +23. Led all starters in plus-minus there. Sar Thompson played 22 minutes tonight. He had 7 points. He was 3 out of 6 from the field, 1 for 4 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Was a -11 in this one. And I'm not really actually, excuse me, too upset with his playing time tonight. I think it was right by JB to really ride Javonte Green and Ron Holland in this one, because I think they were just playing a little bit better defensively, in my personal opinion, in this one. Paul Reed did get some playing time in this one. 3 points, hit 1 free throw, cashed in 1 steal as well. Isaiah Stewart had a very productive night off the bench. 15 points, 6 out of 6 from the field, 1 3-pointer, 2 free throws, 2 rebounds, 1 turnover. He was a +21 in the box score. Ron Holland, 19 minutes, 11 points, 4 to 7 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3. And the 1 3 he did have, as soon as Luka hit a shot, Ron hit a shot, and then he was kind of chirping at the Lakers bench. He was 2 out of 3 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, a plus 19. Javonte Green in 31 minutes, 8 points, 3 out of 7 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, 1 for 2 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks. His defense tonight, I think, is probably going to go unnoticed. But just the defensive assignment that he had, being on LeBron, their possessions that he was on Luka, he's just been such an under-the-radar signing for the Pistons. And probably a signing that I think a lot of us kind of just like when we saw it initially, we kind of just rolled our eyes like, really? Javonte Green? Why are we signing him? But it's been such a under-the-radar pickup by Trajan and this Pistons front office. Marcus Sasser, 24 minutes off the bench tonight, 19 points, 5 out of 8 from the field, 4 to 6 from 3, perfect from the free throw line, made all 5 of his free throws, 2 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steals. He was a plus 14 in this one, and the Pistons really needed all 19 of his points off the bench. And I'm just so happy for the kid that he got the opportunity tonight. Jaden Ivey in 17 minutes had 9 points. He was 4 out of 5 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3. Hit a really deep 3 late in the second half. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal. He was a plus 20 in the box score. Jazz Lanier, to get a little bit of garbage time, scored his point at the free throw line where he was perfect from 2 out of 2. And Dennis Jenkins got 4 minutes in this one, had 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 turnover. But basically everyone played tonight, and it was just a collective effort. It was great to see them get this win, because I think a lot of people were very antsy with this team and how they were going to win. But I really just love how they come in and they bounce back. And like I mentioned it last podcast, like the last time they lost back-to-back games was over a month ago with the Magic and the Celtics. Like this team so far this season, they haven't really gone on like a long losing streak. They bounce back pretty quickly, which is a good sign of a good basketball team that is together and, you know, bought into their coach. But I do want to open up the show to comments and questions, overall thoughts with you guys. I sound tired. Yeah, I'm a little bit tired, but I'm pushing through it for you guys because I think doing these post-game shows after the game, I enjoy watching these games with you, you know, talking about the game after. But hey, man, it's part of the grind. I'm going to try to do all 82 games this year. I did 81 out of 82 last year. Only missed 1 game, but it'll be interesting to see if I can do all 82 this year. So far, so good. Haven't missed a game. Even did preseason and summer league. So, I mean, I have not really missed any post-game podcast. But let's go to Piston Fan 11. He does get the first comment on the show. He said, do you think they find minutes for Sasser? We need 3-point shooting. He will stretch the floor and create up the dribble. He was great tonight. Give him the belt. I think when you look at tonight's game, everything about Marcus Sasser, what he does, like that's why I think the Pistons and Troy Weaver drafted him, traded in the first round to get him, because like the way he was scoring, the way he was defending, he's a good player. He doesn't get a whole lot of, you know, playing time because the shooting guard room is so full. Now, it sucks because if Karis LeVert was healthy, he probably doesn't even scratch any type of playing time tonight. And that's a problem, I think, because right now this team is struggling with perimeter spacing and shooting. I think where a game like this might help him get more playing time is I think JB now has to make a decision of, okay, you know, Dennis has played pretty well for us. Marcus has played pretty well for us. Am I going to ride Marcus Sasser more in Dennis's position in terms of the pecking order of the rotation? I think that's where you might see a little bit more of Marcus Sasser here and there. Maybe he gets a good like 8 to 10 minutes a game. But I think because Karras was out tonight, you saw extended minutes from Jaden Ivey and Marcus Sasser. But it sucks that the shooting guard room is just so full and there's so much depth there because you see the type of player he is and how talented he is. Red Baron said he's been loving the guard rotation now that Ivy is getting more playing time and guys like Sasser and Jenkins making huge contributions. I really love our speed on the perimeter. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the guard rotation on this team is probably the deepest it is from point guard to shooting guards. You have a lot of guys that can play in different positions, whether you want to play some guys on ball or off ball. I do really like the defensive game from Jaden Ivey since he's come back. I like the attention to detail with Marcus Sasser on the perimeter as well. We all know he's a scrappy defender. He'll fight over the top of screens. And Jenkins too. He rotates and plays good, team defense and one-on-one man defense. But it's good to see, and it's such a hard problem to come up here and like tell you guys I have an answer for it when I don't, because I'm not a coach. I'm not JB Bickerstaff. I don't envy the man at all. But it's going to be interesting to see what the rotation is guard wise, because I know Karras is going to come back. I just hope it's not like he comes back and then Sasser's back on the bench not playing at all. I feel like a game like tonight, that's the highest of the high for Marcus Sasser when he's making his shots. He's going to have games where maybe the shot's not falling, but like how does he impact the game if the shots aren't falling? Like, is he hustling still? Is he diving for loose balls? Is he still defending hard? Like, I think those are the questions that I would have. If we give him more of an extended role, which, he's been on the team for a few seasons, and obviously we like him as a player. It's just the position he's in terms of like this rotation and being like a very deep bench guy, isn't by design by any means, but I hope he does get more of an extended role. Marquez, great way to end a road trip question. Did the Pistons even shoot free throws at practice? I agree with you. It was a great way to end the road trip, going 3-2. Do they practice free throws? They do. I don't know what it is about this team. I mean, even guys that are routinely like, 75, 80% free throw shooters are struggling this year. I don't know what it is. Hopefully their New Year's resolution this year is to be a better free throw shooting team. I feel like they'll leave a lot of points at the free throw line when they're not cashing in on, easy ones. But yeah, man, I don't know what it is with this team in free throws. Like, they're one of the bottom teams in the NBA in terms of just making them. D. Billy Bob's comment was, seeing them take the Lakers to the woodshed in LA on national TV was an excellent Christmas present we all needed. Yeah, I mean, I was really happy to see them win on national TV because I talked about it a couple of weeks on a podcast that I felt like this team wasn't getting the respect I thought it deserved, because we've been the number one seed for almost 2 months. And all I heard was like, yeah, the Pistons are a nice story, but like, the Knicks will probably dethrone them for the number one seed. Like, everything is just like very, Knicks and, Boston Celtics, because Boston started winning more and they're the 3 seed. And, I think it's weird the way that the national media kind of paints a picture with Detroit. Like, one of my favorite national podcasts is the Hoop Collective with Brian Windhorst. And like, he said something recently where I was just like, why do you have to wait that long to actually just like give them credit and pat them on the back? Like, he said, yeah, if they're still the number one seed in February, like, we'll have to take them a little bit more seriously. And I was like, they've been the number one seed for almost 2 months. I mean, they've been beating teams. They have I think an 11-3 record with teams that have an above 500 record. I mean, this is a good basketball team. I mean, they're like dipping their toe um, in terms of just like national coverage and talking about them in a positive light. And it's so weird to me. I think a big win against LeBron and the Lakers on NBC might get a little bit more people talking. I saw Ryan Russillo talk about the Pistons tonight. He was tweeting during the game. He loves Ron Holland. He just kind of loves, um, the way that this Pistons team is playing. But I just get annoyed sometimes with the national media, the way that they kind of just talk about the Pistons. We have a comment from someone that watched the game in person tonight. Love to see my Pistons get the win. It was definitely a good one. Well, the fact that you're in LA going to root for the Pistons, that's just that's a win in itself. Shout out to you for going and watching the Pistons at, I almost called it Staples Center. It's not Staples Center anymore. It's the Crypto Arena or something like that. Like, I was reading some of the, I'm kind of going off tangent, but I was reading some of these arenas, and like arenas, like I memorized a lot of them as a kid, and like they're all different now because of sponsors. And it's just like, man, like it's crazy. Like Staples Center is just kind of like etched in my brain. And now it's not Staples Center anymore. It's Crypto Arena. It's weird. Matt Go Pistons has a comment about Javonte Green. And he says he continues to be a star in his role. He's going to earn himself a nice contract this offseason. Hope we can bring him back. Yeah, I mean, being that glue guy off the bench, that's energy, a defensive guy, can make the occasional three. He had a crazy putback dunk in the first half of this one. Like, he's such a great player. And I think you said it perfectly. He's a star player in his role. He's completely bought in. I've just been so impressed with him. And I think that's why JB plays him as much as he does, is because he knows his role. He's bought into it. He doesn't really try to, go out of his comfort zone. He tries to play within the team, and he doesn't try to do anything crazy or make a boneheaded play. Like he's always looking to, make the right plays. And he's a vet that the Pistons got on the cheap this summer. Which I'm really happy with. Keith has a comment, one of our YouTube members. Ron Holland is the glue guy to this Pistons team. Yeah, he's the energy guy off the bench for sure. I feel like when we talk about glue guys, I feel like Isaiah Stewart and Ron Holland are the glue guys for this team. Isaiah Stewart, heart and soul of the team. It starts with him, but Ron Holland's a close second in terms of his energy. I feel like every time he comes to the game, the Pistons' energy just completely switches. They play more fast, more energetic. They're hustling more when he comes out there, and his energy is very infectious. I think a lot of the players on his team just love playing with him and love his energy and the way he attacks the game. Really, really love the way that he's kind of just come into his second year. I know there was like a little slump there, but it's good to see him, impact and scoring and taking Luka Doncic on tonight. When Asar was in foul trouble and taking on that challenge and frustrating him a little bit too. Luka, like inadvertently, that's what they said on the broadcast, like hit him in the face, but you could tell like that was on purpose. Like Ron was getting under his skin. Luka doesn't like physicality, and you could tell. Piston Fan 11 says lots of people are down on Harris, but didn't he get nuclear better sort of mid-season last year? Played his best ball, maybe the same this year. Tobias has just been, I don't want to say a step slow. He just hasn't been the same player as he was last year. He was rebounding the ball at probably the best of his career. I think why Tobias had such a good second half, Piston Fan 11, is when Jaden Ivey went down, Tobias had to be Kate's number 2 option, number 3 option on most nights. And I've watched Tobias Harris a lot, throughout his career, not only with the Pistons, Tobias to me is a rhythm scorer. He needs his touches. He needs his good 10 to 12 touches a night. And if he's not getting those, I think some nights it's hard for him to get in a rhythm. It's hard for him to score. But it gets to a point where you look at the numbers, the Pistons are actually better with Tobias Harris when he's on the bench. The starting lineup that I keep seeing Pistons fans mention is like Isaiah Stewart out there with JD and Asar. And you can't argue with the results when JB does put those guys in there because they're defensive, they're crashing the glass, they're being more physical than the opposing team. And I think it's a conversation definitely that we're going to be having. I don't know if JB is going to make a mid-season starting lineup change. I don't really think there's a need to make a starting lineup change. Maybe he just doesn't play Tobias as much, kind of monitors his minutes a little bit, because this is probably the most injuries I've seen him have throughout his career. I mean, he's had a couple ankles. Then he had a sprained hip. So who knows how long he's going to be out with the sprain. So you're probably going to see Isaiah Stewart, be in that power forward role, and Paul Reed's going to get more playing time because your backup center is going to be in the starting lineup now. So I think that's something to definitely keep an eye on with Tobias Harris and his injury. I know the Pistons do play a couple more times this week. I want to say the Cavs is the next game. We go on the road or we go home. I don't even remember what it is. I'm just so exhausted. I know we played 2 more times this week. I don't remember the schedule at the top of my head, but they played 2 more times this week, so it'll be interesting to see how long Tobias is out. But you're probably going to get Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren in your front court and still have your regular, backcourt of Kate Cunningham and Duncan Robinson and Asar Thompson at small forward. But I'm going to wrap up this podcast. It's Miami. Okay, yeah. This is a Miami game at home, and then I think a Cavs game at 2:00. Really weird. And you got the Knicks on Monday, so it's a back-to-back. Cleveland and New York on a back-to-back just seems criminal to me. It really does. But I'm going to wrap this podcast up. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Pistons win this one 128-106 against the Los Angeles Lakers in LA. And as always, you guys, go Pistons. Peace.